time. You are watching In Your Interest here on News9. I am Krishna Kumar, and viewers, tonight we bring you a story tonight that hits at the very core of safety in this digital age. Women and children are now being targeted by a tool that should never have existed in this form in this first place. Grok AI, a platform designed for conversation, has been misused to digitally undress women and even children. Innocent faces turned into explicit, provocative images circulated online without consent. This is not just a technological failure, it is a violation of dignity, a betrayal of trust, and an alarm we just cannot ignore. Despite promises that Grok AI would not be used for such purposes, the tool continues to generate sexually explicit images as we speak. Women and children remain the most vulnerable. The platform claimed safeguards were in place, yet these lapses allowed predators to exploit it. Every image generated is a violation. Every click leaves a digital scar. This is more than AI misbehavior. This is a failure to protect people, and it raises some urgent questions about accountability, oversight, and ethics in the digital world. India, meanwhile, has stepped in decisively. The IT ministry has launched a formal probe against Grok AI. A notice has been served to social media platform X for non-compliance. Violations of India's IT due diligence obligations have been cited. This is not just a warning. India is demanding answers, raising urgent questions about AI governance and the accountability of platforms. Parallel investigations are underway in Europe and Malaysia, so India is not alone. The world is watching, expecting immediate action and safeguards to protect women and children from further harm. This is not just an Indian concern. The world is watching Grok AI closely. In Europe, the European Commission too has launched investigations into the platform for generating explicit and abusive content. In France, authorities have reported material to prosecutors focusing on deep fake sexual imagery of women and minors. Malaysia's Communications Commission has opened investigations into harmful content, and the United Kingdom, through Ofcom, its communications regulator, has demanded explanations from X, warning that legal obligations to protect users have been violated. Across the globe, Grok is under the microscope and accountability is being demanded. Elon Musk, meanwhile, has responded. But many argue that it's a token gesture. He says anyone using Grok to make illegal content will face the same consequences as if they uploaded it directly. He claims that X removes illegal content, suspends accounts, and works with law enforcement and cooperates with them. But he also frames this as the responsibility of users, saying it's like blaming a pen. The person holding it decides what gets written. And so, viewers, the question here is clear. Is the platform actually taking responsibility here? Or is it passing the buck while women and children continue to be harmed? Tonight we're asking some hard questions. Can a global technology platform operate in India and ignore the law? Who protects our children and women when technology becomes a tool of abuse? How much accountability rests with the creators and how much with the users? Is this a wake-up call for stronger AI regulation, or just another example of platforms prioritizing profit over people? The Grok AI controversy is about more than just images and videos, viewers. It's about safety, responsibility, and the future of digital ethics in India and across the world. We have Kanish Gaur, founder, India Future Foundation and AI expert. We have Brinda Adige, social activist and director, Global Concerns India. With us, we have Pawan Duggal, Chief Executive, Artificial Intelligence Law Hub, joining us. Thank you all of you for taking time out to be with us. Kanishka, at the outset, how much of a responsibility has Elon Musk and Grok AI taken?
I don't think so. Elon Musk and Grok have taken any responsibility so far. They have been dodging the more important ask, which is online safety of women and children. Okay. And they are playing around and making mockery of this global issue right now. Today, Grok can be misused for creating fake images, can be used for trolling, bullying, for harassment, and it can be done by anyone. So far, there are no safeguards which are available on Grok right now. And when it comes to following laws and norms of not only India, but globally, we haven't seen X or Grok doing much of effort. It is more of, you know, take words in terms of saying they will end up doing something. Right now, we haven't seen much really happening.
Yeah. Okay, stay with us. Let me take this across to Pawan Duggal. Pawan Duggal, can Elon Musk wash his hands off it, saying it's the user's responsibility? Grok AI is just a pen.
Definitely not. That's the crystal clear answer. Why? Because the world has now passed that particular bridge where you could argue that, look, I'm giving you a black box and I'm not going to be responsible for what comes out of the black box. Sorry, nobody in the world asked you to give the particular platform with its defects, with its negatives to the people. You cannot use your AI or social media for the purposes of making people as guinea pigs. Yeah. And therefore, as the trends for AI accountability are beginning to grow up, it's very clear that AI companies will have to stop forwarding these kind of arguments and start taking more proactive action for the purposes of putting in place appropriate legal policy and ethical guidelines,
right,
so as to prevent this particular misuse. If you would have done everything in your power and possession and still things have happened, then you can potentially blame the user to say, maybe the user used prompt command engineering and done that. But now, as the law for AI accountability is beginning to take traction, it's increasingly becoming an imperative. It's no longer just a luxury, it's going to be a necessity. And India requires a dedicated law on artificial intelligence. Why? Because the existing law in India, being the Information Technology Act 2000, is thoroughly inadequate to deal with AI because it does not deal with AI as a paradigm, including the IT Rules 2021 and the IT Amendment Rules 2025 do not really serve the purpose per se. Well, we have been trying to get our India AI guidelines in November 2025, but those guidelines are only proactive. They are only voluntary in nature. They do not have any penal consequences. So till such time, there will not be any danda of the law behind the legal provisions. Until such time, legal provisions are not going to be enforced. These kinds of lame arguments will continue to be given. The onus will be on the government to take appropriate steps to protect the dignity and the stature of Indian women and the Indian users at large.
Absolutely. Brinda, it also raises two questions. One is there enough regulation? Clearly, there isn't enough, and clearly not enough enforcement either. But at the same time, the evolution of AI per se, a lot of questions have been raised on whether AI's evolution will be gender sensitive. These are issues that are, that where women and children are the most vulnerable in the digital age when it comes to issues like this. And they've been so right from the beginning. And with AI, this has become, this goes to other levels. So this raises questions on AI governance across the world on whether AI is evolving in a gender sensitive way in the first place.
You're absolutely right. More than a gender sensitive way, is it safe for everybody, any gender? So today we are talking about women and children, but there is no AI binding enforcement, accountability laws anywhere in the world for that matter. And India is also far behind. Like the other panelists pointed out, we don't even have that kind of an immediate enforcement that can be done. We'll have to go rigmarole before we even ask a question to somebody. And I think Elon Musk's response has been close to irresponsible and very immature, because Grok was, I don't know much about IT stuff, but who made it? People, professionals made it. You could easily tell them that don't put this programming into it. Don't tell me that, the pen that holds the hand, or hand that holds the pen, I cannot decide what they have to write. Or all of that, maybe, you can fool yourself about it, but not the rest of the world. You are responsible for a program that you have created. And there was no need for you to have gone all out to say, oh, Grok can do anything. And if it's going to, disrobe children and women, put them up over there, what can I do? Please hold goodwill and civic responsibility. No, sorry. You are equally responsible when you put something out over there. It is a wrong, it is criminal for you to say that you must use it responsibly. It is the person who's using it. Remove that feature that says, do this to me, Grok. Do this for me. Remove that feature. I don't know computers. I don't know all of this internet. But is that not possible? And if that is not possible, how did you make such a program at all?
Yeah. Yeah, Kanishk, clearly there were technological solutions that could have been implemented, safeguards that could have been put in place that were not put in place.
The aspects like privacy by design, trust by design were never thought of. It was always said that Grok is an evolving platform. It will evolve and adopt. So human safety was never put at first. That's the biggest issue we are seeing with respect to Grok and the new functionality features which are being added to X. And today, in the garb of AI evolution, if human lives is put at risk, I don't think so that's the way technology should evolve. And that's not the way technology needs to be governed. The government needs to act more stringently today to ensure platforms like X are held liable and responsible and are told to follow the law of the land. The Indian IT rules need to be stringent more today to ensure there is greater
Ganesh,
transparency,
if I were to ask you at this stage,
and particularly deepfake, misinformation and cyberbullying which is being done through platforms like X is handled in a proper manner.
Kanishk, if I were to ask you, there is no global governance, they're yet to arrive at global regulations for artificial intelligence. So do you think that until that happens, it's important that individual countries, starting with India, start enforcing their own guidelines?
See, it will be difficult to have global governance on AI because the world is truly divided on artificial intelligence. The US follows its own norms, which talks about use of AI globally and not look at safety security, whereas the EU has its own norms where it places privacy and trust as fundamental principles. So the world is equally divided. Now, India needs to have its own geopolitical stance today and how it wants to deal with AI and AI-related risk. So India will have to develop its own frameworks, its own guardrails. That's where Ministry of Electronics Information Technology needs to take a lead right now to ensure there is enough guardrails to safeguard citizens of this country from all online harms which are today perpetrated across social media platforms, because content which is created using Grok not only ends up being on Grok but also replicates across other social media platforms.
And that makes it all the more scarier, isn't it, Pawan Duggal? Very, very difficult to, one, control the evolution of artificial intelligence. Newer and newer technologies will continue to emerge. And with every turn and with every phase of evolution, newer security risks come in.
And that's the reason we have to look at AI from a different perspective and prism. In my latest book, Regulating AI Vortex, the Duggal Doctrine, I've actually compared artificial intelligence to a vortex and the need for having principle-based legal frameworks as the deciding factor today. Why? Because you try to legislate something today, it'll be obsolete in the next 4 to 6 months. Having said that, with massive advances coming in artificial intelligence, whether it's agentic AI, AGI, or ultimately super intelligence coming in, you will have to have principle-based legal frameworks to guide you through. Yes, these can be broad principles. In addition, flexibility needs to be given to sectoral regulators so that they can come to sector-specific guidelines and parameters, because no one size is going to fit all. That's the reason why different countries are now increasingly being pushed in the direction of coming up with new legal frameworks. Well, it all began with China, then European Union, now Hungary, South Korea, Japan, and El Salvador are countries who have dedicated laws on AI. But I think India cannot just do a mere cut, copy, paste. India has to come up with its own customized new legal frameworks, given its mind its new ground realities. That's the reason we have launched last year the International Artificial Intelligence Legal Framework Initiative, where we are actually providing legal principles as a la carte menu cards to countries as they want to come up with their own national laws on AI. So one thing is very clear. You cannot no longer say, well, my existing laws are good enough, I will just wait and watch. Yes, innovation is premium, but then regulation of misuse of AI is the burning necessity of today's time. And the quicker we start coming up with dedicated legal frameworks and effective enforcement mechanisms, making enforcing AI to be more accountable, more responsible, more ethical, more transparent, and more explainable, the better it ultimately will be in terms of ensuring the protection of the rights of users. Ultimately, we don't want Indians to be guinea pigs in the hands of the AI algorithms as they continue to come up and collect all kinds of Indian data at just rupees 399 per
Right.
month kind of an offering, which I think is ridiculous. India needs to dedicatedly protect its data specifically from being invaded. Otherwise, India is going to become a victim of colonial. It will be cognitive colonialism. Why?
Yeah,
Because
digital
at the end of the day,
colonization, if I may. Ms. Dugal, the one other question that I want to ask you, before I take it to Brinda Adige, is this: the deadline for Grok to respond expires tomorrow. The IT ministry has sent a notice to them. If you don't get a response from Grok AI, what should be done? What should be India's next move, Mr. Dugal?
well, one thing is very clear. If India has given them first 72 hours and now another 48 hours, and you don't get a proper response, India must proceed forward in terms of initiating legal proceedings under the Information Technology Act, under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, and needless to say, X is likely to lose and has already lost its statutory exemption from legal liability under Section 79 of the IT Act. You need to create a kind of a beta test case and give a message to the ecosystem that you cannot keep on continue to take the benefits of the Indian market and yet not comply with Indian laws. And should you choose to voluntarily not comply with Indian laws, you should be prepared to face the legal consequences. Why? Because India wants to protect its citizens from cognitive colonialism. Already these big AI companies and big AI algorithms are making Indians as cognitive slaves, as Indians are losing the track of their cognitive capabilities. So the time for protecting the cognitive and the neuro rights of Indians has come in now. And by taking effective action against not just X, but any other service provider who violates the law of the land is the urgent need of today's time. Because if you do that, you restore the confidence of the people and you ensure that there's by and large a deterrence in the ecosystem at large.
Okay, Brinda Adige, actually I was asking Ms. Dungal, in case the Grok doesn't respond, Elon Musk doesn't respond, should we just, once and for all go in? We've banned so many Chinese applications. Is it time to ban Grok AI to set a precedent, Brinda Adige?
Absolutely, because it cannot be at the cost of the dignity and images of the citizens of this nation who are women and children, the most vulnerable. And when Elon Musk is promising or assuring action, should he not proactively share information with us to say, these are the people who have been doing this, and so please take action on them. They are from your country, or if they are from some other country, keep us informed, keep my government informed to say, now you negotiate with the other country because the person, the alleged accused is from there. It has to be proactive action. Why are we begging Elon Musk? We have allowed we've opened our markets to him. He's coming and doing his business over here. His profits are from this place. So why is it that he should be exempted from following the laws of our land? Because it is our women and our children who are at stake, and that cannot be left up to his goodwill. And he cannot sit here and say users must take responsibility and must be blamed. Because of the users, you're earning a profit, and you're using that profit to do whatever you want. But you dare not tell me that you will not follow the rules of this country. Proactively share all the information so that my government and my police is able to take appropriate action as per the laws of the land. Otherwise, all that what you're talking is nothing but hot air.
Okay, Kanish Gaur, your take, is it time to then put a final check, draw a line in the sand? Artificial intelligence platforms have run into trouble with the Indian government, everything from wrong propaganda on its search queries to now this.
See, Government of India has taken action against X in the past for not following laws of the land, and it was about to lose its safe harbor status. The government could reenact such rulings and ensure X falls in line and ensures or whatever work is being done on Grok, which is harming the Indian community, particularly the vulnerable group. It tries to make amendments and builds up guardrails to ensure there is enough safety so the platform can be operated seamlessly across India, and it should not really interfere with the democratic values of this country, which talks about safety, security. That's really the missing part which is there. And I believe that today X doesn't have enough representation in India. Musk had fired most of the ex-staff. So when it comes to safety, security, I don't think so that team really exists to ensure there is compliance to Indian laws. So
Okay.
the significant social media intermediary guidelines can be invoked by the government and action can be taken against X.
Kanishk, as an AI expert, I wanted to comment on the fact that AI platforms, be it Gemini, be it ChatGPT, be it now Grok AI, they all have had issues with laws of the land. Gemini had in terms of content, and now Grok AI again in terms of illegal content. This is increasingly becoming an AI specific issue, not just a social media issue.
See, it will always be because technology will always take the leapfrog. And laws have to follow. Whether today it is AI, tomorrow it is going to be quantum. So governments need to move forward and finalize the rules. So the government of India recently came out with the guidelines on safeguarding Indian citizens from deepfake, misinformation, and AI-based threats. Now that guideline needs to be finalized and it has to be enacted. That hasn't really happened. And as Mr. Duggal has pointed out, we need specific laws around AI in this country. The government needs to put forward AI laws in this country if it really is serious about protecting citizens' interests. Otherwise, we would be left at the mercy of AI.
Pawan Duggal, it looks like pretty much we're already left at the mercy of AI because one is finding ways to regulate it, and the other is the evolution of the technology per se. They say we are still at the very early stages, early days of AI, and look at the scary possibilities it throws up, including the Grok AI, these images, these explicit images on Grok AI being just a symptom, a tip of the iceberg of the larger malaise that is possible.
Clearly, we have to realize that this is just a trailer of the film that we are seeing. The film has yet to evolve. And as the film evolves very, very quickly, we will be out of breath because we will not be in a position to go ahead and effectively regulate till such time we have adequate legal, ethical safeguards and guardrails built in now. Already with AGI coming in the next year or so, and with super intelligence coming in, which will supersede the cumulative intelligence of humanity at a race. The important issue is you're unleashing a demon that's going to ultimately be present to you an existential threat. Therefore, the need for effective regulation is now. The need for having a multi-tiered, layered approach on liability is very essential. Let's not only make the platform liable, let's also make the service providers liable. Let's also, at appropriate cases, make the users liable. We will have to really go ahead and reinvent the legal frameworks, the legal theories and principles that are existing, because none of these were drafted keeping in mind artificial intelligence. And it's time that you will have to start giving legal recognition of legal personhood to artificial intelligence if you want to make AI effectively liable. Otherwise, the fundamental question is still very simple but very complex. If AI causes harm to humans, who will ultimately be responsible? I think laws in this regard and legal frameworks and legal theories have to be developed in this regard as we go forward. We have created the Global Artificial Intelligence Accountability Law and Governance Institute, where we are actually looking at now these legal frameworks and legal principles which need to evolve for accountability at large. The quicker India takes a thought leadership, the quicker it actually represents the hopes and aspirations of not just Indians, but also of the global South, as it comes up with new innovative approaches to deal with AI. But for that, political will is required. Innovation is important, but then the misuse of AI cannot be allowed to go without any potential checks and balances. And that's the reason there's a need for adequate, new, dedicated approaches on AI, legal policy and regulatory issues.
Right. Brinda Adige, for those specific approaches, there needs to be enough representation from women in all these committees and councils that are going to be set up to figure out the best ways to regulate and put safeguards into artificial intelligence. Currently, according to the last numbers, at least women are poorly represented in the entire AI industry per se.
You're absolutely right. We need more women to represent over there and more talk about safety and protection and privacy of women. It is important that no matter who the service provider is and what your algorithms may be, you have to consider this 60 to 65% of women and children in that bracket of safety. that cannot be left up to saying it is users' responsibility. It can never be users. It has to be the state and it has to be the service providers. So now my state has to invest in building that public digital safety infrastructure. It can no longer say that, we are asking them, we are telling them, we have given them 72 hours time. No, it is not enough, you making all of these statements. What is the infrastructure you're providing now to the person who might be affected? Because that is a real person. It's a human being. This person is a citizen of this nation who has constitutional guarantees by the state for that safety and protection. So my state would also have to invest in all of these things. It cannot only be dependent on whoever are the service providers or the ones who have come in to do the business over here. Along with that, digital literacy to everybody is a must. It has to be on a war footing. It has to be in a mission mode.
Right, and Brinda, the one other thing I wanted to touch upon is the fact that more and more women should be able to take up AI courses right from school and college levels, and also these companies that are making these incredible new cutting-edge AI technologies need to be staffed with more women.
Absolutely, you get more and more women there so that sensitivity increases, and you will learn what women are afraid of and how women get targeted. Because irrespective of how much knowledge a man might have, it is women who will be able to give all the right insights. So yes, you have to employ more women, involve more women, and have more women in every sphere, every stage, every phase, and in the decision-making space. Because we have very few women in the decision-making spaces, and that is important because they are rarely heard.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with you on that. I'm afraid we're completely out of time here with that. I'm going to thank Brinda Adige, social activist and Director, Global Concerns India, Kanish Gaur, founder, India Future Foundation and AI expert, and Pawan Duggal, Chief Executive, Artificial Intelligence Law Hub. Thank you, all three of you, for taking time out to be with us here on In Your Interest. And with that, it's a wrap here from my side. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
जब 25 साल के प्रत्युष का किडनी का ऑपरेशन हुआ तो पॉलिसी बाजार की टीम ने हॉस्पिटल पहुंचकर 12 लाख का क्लेम अप्रूव करवाने में पूरी हेल्प की। पॉलिसी बाजार पर 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 550 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
2026, take notes. Manifesting. For my little Miss Sunshine, tickles and giggles. Also wanna be a biker chick.